It's now my pleasure to introduce Mark Frissell. He is the Island Facilities Manager for Ossabaw Island Foundation, and he's going to share some insights and updates on what's going on the island. Mark?
This is not my preferred side of the microphone. Elizabeth typed something up for me because she thought I would need it, and she might be right. Today was all day on the island with the crew of characters that's going to start working on the Torrey-West House. And people always say to me, "Oh, it's so great, you must love working on Ossabaw." And it is fantastic, don't get me wrong. But anybody who wants to know what that's like can take a boat ride with me at 7 o'clock in the morning for one of these last few days, and it changes your perspective on how much fun it is to work out there. I'm going to read this thing that Elizabeth did, because if I don't, then it works best if I do what I'm told. I'm Mark Frissell. I'm the Ossabaw Island Foundation Facilities Manager, as you know. I'm going to try to give you guys a quick update on where we are, and these things are just going to run behind me randomly. I'm not sure what's even up there. She gave me a little bit of background. I think everybody probably knows this, but preaching to the choir a little bit. But so in January of 1923, the Tories' Thunderbolt winter home burned to the ground, and they decided to purchase Ossabaw Island for their winter retreat, as we know. The summer of 1924, Dr. and Mrs. Torrey were making the final decisions on the construction of their new winter residence located on Ossabaw Island's north end. They used Enrique Wallin as the architect, and they debated whether it would be an English cottage or a Mediterranean revival home, and obviously, we all know it turned out to be a Mediterranean revival home with an English great room inside of it. So it was sort of a, obviously there was some customer input on that. I'm going to just break from this for one moment so you can see why we're showing you a dumpster. That is the dumpster for lead paint and asbestos. So the building has been abated of both lead paint and asbestos now, and there's one of the crew members there on the lift working on the lead paint on the exterior. So at the moment, that's kind of where we stand. We're abated to the level where we can have people go in and safely start working. And so we're finalizing all of the plans that are this thick, that talk about every little aspect, every square inch of the house. The floor was found to have asbestos in it in the kitchen and down the hallway, so that's gone too at the moment. Let's see where this Elizabeth's thing is so I can make sure I don't skip anything. So here we are 100 years later. Brian Kemp appropriated $7.1 million in the 24-25 Department of Natural Resources budget for the rehabilitation of the building. That includes the little White House, so we're calling it the whole complex. Got lost. It's been many years in the making. One thing she wanted me to make clear was that the foundation is not actually receiving this money. A lot of people think that the foundation got $7 million, and it is in the state budget. It's a state project. They are including us as end users, as sort of the customer in a sense. We have input in what happens, and so far it's worked out really well, and we'll see how if that continues. The actual project should start really going early spring. It's just a matter now of everybody fine-tuning their prices, making sure that everybody's on the same page with the drawings, understanding what needs to be done, and then we'll start. So it's going to be very comprehensive and hopefully beautiful. And that's kind of what's going on. If anybody has questions, that would be helpful for me, because that's all I've got. The roof was done before and still functioning beautifully. The tile roof, as long as it's in good shape, will perform. So we're not having any issues with the roof.
Mark, tell us a little bit about the to-the-rest roof, the great roof. What's going to happen to that?
Not a lot, thank God. So one of the things that's going to have to happen, that just is going to have to happen for a project of this scale, is we are going to have to put in fire suppression. So there will be a sprinkler system basically that goes in. Some of those pipes will be exposed just because it would be so destructive to try to hide them. Really, it's just better to go ahead and admit that there's a sprinkler system there. So that room will get sprinkled, but the decorative finishes on the plaster walls are going to stay. We're not repainting that room. Everything's just going to be cleaned. That room in particular is going to be really hands-off. So the building it'll be completely rewired, completely replumbed. It'll have HVAC, but as far as changes, aesthetic changes in that room, there'll be almost none. And most of the decorative finishes in the building are also going to be protected. Some of the doors are grained. One of the coffee room downstairs, people familiar with that, has decorative painting on the shutters and that sort of thing. All of that's going to stay. It's going to be protected during the process and not repainted. So far we're all talking a good game. I'm hoping it goes smoothly.
Are they going to renovate the icebox?
No, that's not in the budget. So there's original refrigeration there, and that's not in the budget, unfortunately. But we can dream.
Mark, if you start in the spring, when do you think, how long do you think it's?
Well, the main contractor today was, she asked if it starts in the spring, when do we think it'll be finished? The main contractor guy, who doesn't appear to be afraid of anything, he's just like, oh yeah, fine. He said a year. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think anything on Ossabaw happens in a year. I would say probably at least a couple of years before it's really done. So there's no hurry. I'd rather move slow and steady than go fast and make a mistake. So, yes.
Are there plans for the fireplaces? Will they be working or closed down?
The main fireplace in the great room is plans to be working. Some of these things will happen. Did everybody hear the question about the fireplaces? Okay. Whether all the fireplaces will be working again. Some of these things are going to be visited on a budgetary basis. So sure, if there's money and we can make all of the fireplaces work, sure. But right now we're going to focus on that main one and make sure that one works, and then we'll see where we can go from there. So, okay, thanks.